What's up, everyone? Matt here with Connor for another Who Are They Real Review. And tonight we're here to talk to you about the latest film from, I think it's his directorial debut of Eddie Huang, who, for those of you who never watched the show Fresh Off the Boat, it was loosely based off of his life. And he has a decent background in the industry as it is. But I was approached to cover this film. I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Didn't know anything about it. And then I'm reading, I'm like, okay, this has my interest. I watched the trailer. I'm like, okay, now you really have my interest. And I gave it a shot. Connor watched it with me. And here we are. So I'll let Connor start. First off, general thoughts on the film.
All right. Happy Woo Wednesday. Rest in peace, Pop Smoke. I liked it. Anything like basketball related, any basketball movie, I'm going to enjoy thoroughly. And I really like this one. Some people might say it's like basically, NBA 2K, the movie.
Yeah.
I think it goes deeper than that. It's about, Asian American representation, learn a lot about like the culture of that. And it just had like that basketball flavor with it. And then you have Pop Smoke in it, that was just sad, kind of bittersweet. Because I would love to see him in more, because he was great in this with what he had to do in it. And the soundtrack was great. Cinematography was great. The only downside is the acting, but the story is so good, in my opinion, that like it kind of overshadows that, like the bad dialogue or the poor acting. But it's a good movie. I liked it.
Yeah, no, I felt very similar. Well, yeah, I did say, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of like 2K the movie, but it like you said, it goes deeper than that. And that was something that really hit me, because in 2K, ultimately, your character's still doing what's best for them. When in this, the family you talked about is the real redeeming factor. Yeah, the dialogue can be pretty rough at times. There's no denying that.
Yeah.
But one line in particular, you got a nice pussy. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, where he's like, I'm tripping because my dick might be trash. I was like, I started crying, laughing. Like, some of the dialogue is very cringeworthy, but
it makes you smile in a positive way. It's cringe, but in a good way.
It's funny, yeah. There's a lot of like comedic moments in it. Whether that's intentional or not, I don't know, but there are comedic moments in it that I enjoyed. And it's crazy because the basketball scenes are good.
Yeah.
But the scenes that I enjoyed most was with him and his family.
Yeah. Taylor Takahashi plays the main character of Alfred Chin, and he goes by Boogie. That's why the film's titled Boogie. And you have his family, and I will say one of my favorite performances was his uncle. His uncle is probably the best actor in the film. And you know what's funny? That's Eddie Huang.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just to have of all the iffy acting, I actually wasn't that concerned with his, because I'm like, he's playing it like a teen would. I felt like, okay, I can understand his position. And overall, outside of Uncle Jack, that was my favorite character. And just the struggle and the decisions that he has to make are some that no 17-year-old should have to make whatsoever.
Yeah. So the movie really is about this like basketball phenom who in Queens that gets transferred to another school, and because they view it as his best chance to beat Pop Smoke's character
and get a scholarship, because that's the thing. Yeah. He's Asian and getting no scholarship love, but he's this basketball phenom.
Yeah, and so his ultimate goal is to beat Pop Smoke's character Monk and get a scholarship and get into the NBA. And then problems ensue, and it just seems like he might not get there. And he has to make decisions. He has to juggle family life, a girl, basketball, trying to decide, do I make decisions based on my family, for me, or for a girl? So he's juggling all these responsibilities. And yeah, it does get pretty serious for, this character who's playing a teenager in high school. Like the decisions he has to make are very serious.
Yeah, and ultimately it ends up being a coming of age story. That's what it is, and it was kind of
like
exactly. That's what I was about to get to, because the first day of class, he's in his English class, and the teacher's like, "What can you tell me about coming of age stories?" And you're like, "Okay, I know where this movie's going right away," and then you go along with the journey.
Yeah.
So, if I'm gonna rate this personally, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5 reels. I really enjoyed it. It was strong. Like outside of the script, the story overall is what sold me. If it weren't for the story outpowering the negative parts of this would be lower. But ultimately, the story is what captures you.
Mm-hmm.
Bad dialogue and acting be damned. Connor, what would you give it?
I'm giving it 3.5 as well. Rewatchability. That's like the one thing like I kind of keep in mind for when I'm rating movies. Would I watch this again? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it looks great. The cinematography is great. The direction's great.
Yep.
The soundtrack is so good. The story is good. It's really just, the questionable acting and dialogue, but I can overlook that because I didn't look at my phone once while watching this movie. I was just so into it.
The only time I ever looked at my phone was when I was looking at the cast list on like IMDb. I'm like, wait, who?
Yeah, that's the only time is like Charlemagne the God showed up, and I was like, man, fuck that.
but yeah, I didn't even touch on that soundtrack. That soundtrack pops, and
yeah,
I shouldn't be surprised because being someone who watched Fresh Off the Boat throughout its entire run religiously, Eddie Wong growing up, and you can read the book, which the show is based off of, his memoir. He was very influenced by Black culture, and you see that in this film.
Yeah,
and he respects not just Black culture but Asian culture.
Yeah.
So, Boogie, you can check it out in theaters this Friday. Connor, any parting thoughts, real quick?
No, see Boogie, give it a chance. It's good.
All right. With them signing off, I'm Matt.
Connor.
And this is another Who Are They Real review. Have a good one.